Greetings, welcome to the Metal Book Tavern, and in this video I'm going to talk about books that I haven't read. For this video I analyzed booktube videos, both Russian and English, and I also went to Google and to TikTok. So I analyzed them and I selected 10 books for this video. This video features both classics and modern fiction. The books that I haven't read is not the same as the authors I haven't read. I'm going to make a separate video on authors I have never read. Now let's go to the books in random order. So the very first book that I have seen literally everywhere, especially on BookTok, is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I know that this book is set in an academia, and this is sort of a murder mystery. That's all I know about the book. And also that it's very popular on TikTok. Am I going to read this book? Maybe, but I'm not interested in it at the moment. But I'm not going to say no to this if I get the chance. So I heard a lot about the next book, especially in 2022. It was popular, it was everywhere, and it's Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I know that this is a comedic sci-fi with two guys at the center. I'm familiar with the author. I read his The Martian back in 2015, and I even reread it once. In my April's reading vlog, I go to a bookstore, and if you look closely, you can see that book on the bookshelves. I wanted to buy it, but decided against. Well, mostly because the book was way too big. Am I going to read this book? I'd actually like to read this book. If I have a proper copy for a proper price, why not? I'd love to have it. So the next book is The Little Prince by French author whose name I won't pronounce because it's hard for me, so I won't. This book is about, like it says on the cover, The Little Prince, and there is also something about the moon. I saw it at the bookstores, literally everywhere. Okay, granted, this isn't completely BookTok famous, but I still included it because I see it quoted a lot. I see it on the internet everywhere and in the bookstores. Am I going to read this? Yeah, probably. I'd like to have it. Next one is Animal Farm by George Orwell. You won't believe how many times I wanted to buy this book, but then I was like, nah, not now. No, I'm not buying this right now. No. I know that this book is set on a farm, and this book also contains the infamous quote, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the others, or something along the lines. I definitely want to read this book, and I hope to get my hands on it very soon. I know that this book is about the unfair treatment of particular animals because they are particular animals. Yes, I'm definitely going to read this eventually. Okay, the next book isn't super popular on the English side of things. This is popular on the Russian side of things, but I know that there is an English translation. And the book is called The Grey House by Mariam Petrosyan. The Russian title is A House in Which. I heard everywhere the huge praise for this book. Everyone was like, yeah, this book is so great, yada yada yada. And then I'm like, what this book is actually about? So I went to the internet and then I found out that this book is about an orphanage with disabled kids. This is a fantasy novel and it has 900 pages. Now, after reading the annotation, I thought that I would actually like to read this book. I'm not after it at the moment, but if I get the chance for a proper price and in proper edition, then why not? I'd give it a try. So the next book is Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse. If you have seen my previous videos, you know that I appreciate Hermann Hesse a lot. I read his Beneath the Wheel and Damien, and I'm about to read Gertrude. I don't exactly remember what it is about, but it's a Hermann Hesse novel, and yes, I'm going to read it. But the next book, on the other hand, I'm not going to read at all. No plans whatsoever. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Victoria Schwab. This book is basically about an immortal girl who is quickly forgotten about once she stops interacting with someone. Yeah, people forget her right after she leaves, which is kind of ironic given that I heard reviews that said that this book was quite forgettable. I won't judge, I won't say anything, I haven't read the book, this is simply the reviews that I read, but I have zero interest in that book. I would love to read it, Victoria Schwab, all the same, by the way. I know that there's this novel Vicious about two academic rivals. This sounds very interesting, yeah, definitely, and also she has some kind of musical trilogy. I remember that there were books with violin on the cover. Given that musical themes are definitely my thing, I'd like to go after these books. The next one is Great Gatsby by Scott F. Fitzgerald. I know that this book is about a rich guy who throws luxurious parties in hopes that the girl he likes is going to come. I had multiple chances of buying this book in both Russian and English, and though I always kept thinking, nah, not now, nah, I'm not interested in the moment, nah, I'd rather buy something else, no, not right now. And then I missed out on the book. It sold out. I'm definitely going to read The Great Gatsby eventually. Next book is 50-50. I don't think I'm going to read this, and the book is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is sort of a retelling of the Iliad by Homer, which I still haven't read. This book looks at the events of the Iliad from a different perspective. That's all I know about the book, and that it's super popular. I don't think I'm going to read this book right now. And finally, the last book on this list, I feel more positive about it, unlike the previous one, and it's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I really enjoyed Daisy Jones and the Six, and this increased my hopes for this book. I know that this book is about an aging Hollywood star who decides to write a biography, and she hires a journalist to write the book. Yeah, a little bit sounds like The 13th Tale by Diane Satterfield, but with a completely different story. I enjoyed Daisy Jones and the Six, and I expect this book is going to be no less entertaining. The chances are that I'm going to read this book are 75 to 25, so it means more yes than no. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. What are the books that you haven't read? Let me know down in the comments. See you next time. Goodbye.